WWE has successfully wrapped up SummerSlam 2025. The upcoming episode of Monday Night Raw will see the fallout of the biggest party of the summer. The post-SummerSlam period usually marks a fresh beginning on the roster, heralding fresh feuds and storylines on both brands. With the number of superstars on the Raw roster, several exciting storylines could begin on the Red brand tonight. While feuds like Naomi vs. Stephanie Vaquer and CM Punk vs. Seth Rollins are inevitable, other fresh storylines could also take center stage. WWE might also start the build-up for its upcoming premium live event, Clash in Paris. Here are 5 feuds that could begin on WWE Raw following SummerSlam 2025. Number 5. Io Sky vs. Becky Lynch. Io Sky failed to capture the Women's World Championship at SummerSlam as she came up short against Rhea Ripley and Naomi. The 35-year-old has been in the title picture for months. Therefore, WWE can push her in a fresh direction now. The genius of the Sky could chase the Women's Intercontinental Championship on Raw. What happens when wrestlers get too selfish? Watch here. Meanwhile, Becky Lynch needs a fresh feud for her title now that Lyra Valkyria is officially out of the Women's IC title race. The company could run Lynch vs. Sky, a feud that has the potential to elevate the women's division. With both being 2 of the top stars, Triple H could book this blockbuster match for the upcoming PLE, Clash in Paris. Number 4. Austin Theory vs. Grayson Waller. WWE revealed the breakup of Austin Theory and Grayson Waller's alliance in a shocking fashion a few weeks ago on Raw. However, this rivalry could finally take off now that SummerSlam is in the rear-view mirror. Theory could make a stunning return on an upcoming episode of Monday Night Raw. He could go right after Waller, attacking the latter for his betrayal. Fans have been clamoring to see this feud for a long time. Therefore, Triple H can finally pull the trigger on this, starting with Austin Theory's babyface turn. This could finally kick off an intriguing heel versus face feud on the Red brand. Number 3. Bayley vs. Lyra Valkyria may begin on WWE Raw. Bayley cost Lyra Valkyria the Women's Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam. She tried to knock off Becky Lynch with a fist, which instead landed on Valkyria, becoming the reason for her defeat. Although the role model didn't cost the 28-year-old deliberately, it was enough to exacerbate their already bitter relationship. Lyra Valkyria could blame Bayley for her loss, and this could eventually lead to a full-fledged feud between them. The 2 superstars did feud before, but it was more of a multi-person feud with Lynch in the mix. Now that the Women's Intercontinental title is out of the equation, Bayley and Valkyria could start a classic one-on-one feud on Raw. Number 2. Sami Zayn vs. Seth Rollins and Company. Following his big win over Karrion Kross at SummerSlam, it looks like Sami Zayn is officially done with the Doomwalker. He now might focus on his mission of becoming a world champion in WWE. Zayn could start a compelling feud with new World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins and his faction on Raw. There were already tensions between the 2 parties in the past, and Triple H may fully explore this rivalry now. Sami Zayn could battle Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed in several matches, which could ultimately lead to a singles match between Zayn and Rollins at an upcoming premium live event. Number 1. Rhea Ripley vs. Becky Lynch. Rhea Ripley failed to win the Women's World Championship at SummerSlam. She has been chasing the title for eternity now, and things have become oversaturated. Therefore, WWE might push Mommy into a new and fresh direction on Raw. Failing to capture the world title, Ripley may set her sights on the Women's Intercontinental Championship. The Eradicator could go after her former rival and defending champion, Becky Lynch. The 2 superstars delivered a blockbuster feud in the past, and they could recreate the same magic. WWE can kick off this feud on Raw, and this can significantly elevate the prestige of the Women's Intercontinental Championship, which many undervalue at times. SummerSlam 2025 may be over, but the aftershocks are just beginning. With betrayals, shock victories, and shifting alliances, Monday Night Raw is primed for fresh storylines. Here are 5 explosive feuds that could erupt on the red brand in the fallout from the biggest event of the summer. 1. Cody Rhodes vs. Gunther. Battle for supremacy. Cody may have retained or reclaimed his undisputed WWE Championship, but Gunther's dominant showing in the SummerSlam main event makes one thing clear. He's no longer just a mid-card king. The ring generals stare down the American Nightmare post-match, silently promising war. Expect a slow-burning feud that could redefine both men. Classic storytelling versus punishing power. 2. Rhea Ripley vs. Liv Morgan. A war of revenge. If Liv Morgan's antics at SummerSlam cost Rhea Ripley a victory, or worse, her Women's World Championship. This is personal now. Liv's obsession with Dominic Mysterio and Rhea's return from injury set the stage for an emotionally volatile and chaotic rivalry. This could become the most intense women's feud of the year, mixing mind games with full-blown brawls. 3. Drew McIntyre vs. CM Punk. Veteran vengeance. If Drew McIntyre's frustrations boiled over at SummerSlam, especially if CM Punk had a hand in his loss, the Scottish Warrior may have finally snapped. Punk's return aura could fade quickly if McIntyre targets him with brutal assaults and bitter promos. This feud could tear Raw apart, as both men fight to prove they're still elite. 4. The Miz vs. LA Knight. Hollywood heat turns personal. After another verbal war during the SummerSlam kickoff, tensions between The Miz and LA Knight have escalated. Miz, jealous of Knight's rising popularity, might finally push the megastar too far. Expect snarky mic battles, backstage pranks, and eventually a high-profile clash on Raw that pits arrogance against attitude. 5. Damian Priest vs. Finn Balor. Judgment Day implodes. SummerSlam could be the moment the Judgment Day finally fractures. If Damian Priest walked out still Mr. Money in the Bank, or even world champion, and Balor failed in his match, jealousy will boil. Seeds of tension have been sown for months. On Raw, expect a betrayal, a split, or an all-out civil war, turning brotherhood into bitter rivalry. Final thoughts. Raw is entering a new era post-SummerSlam, and these 5 rivalries have the potential to define it. Whether it's personal vengeance, title ambitions, or fractured friendships, Monday nights are about to get a lot more intense. WWE Universe, get ready. The road to Survivor Series may already be paved in chaos. It will be interesting to see whether any of these feuds kick off on the upcoming episode of Monday Night Raw.